Shabbat Shalom, everyone. We have a double portion this week, Atonement and Kiddushim from the middle of Leviticus. We start with Atonement, which is Leviticus chapters 16 through 18:30. And this particular parsha picks up the narrative after the death of Aaron's sons Nadav and Avihu. And if you remember, they offered alien fire and died as a result in our parsha last week. And God tells Moses to tell Aaron that he and his sons are to enter the shrine only when performing the sacrifices in a fashion that is commanded by God. Our Torah portion then pivots to the rituals for Yom Kippur, our Day of Atonement. And the purpose of these rituals is really to remove the tumah of the Israelites, the priests, and the altar, transferring them onto the goat of Azazel, the scapegoat, who is then driven into the wilderness. The biblical purpose of the Day of Atonement is to purify the sanctuary, thereby allowing God to dwell in the midst of the Jewish people and maintaining the efficacy of the temple ritual. But later Jewish thought really shifts the focus from restoring the sanctuary to atoning for the people. And this shift is reflected in the Torah when it says, "On this Day of Atonement, it shall be made for you to cleanse you of all your sins. You shall be clean before Adonai." And then once we get into chapter 17, the middle of chapter 17, around verse 26, we enter what is known as the Holiness Code, because the dominant theme is the holiness of the people Israel. And the constant refrain of "you shall be holy, for I, Adonai, your God, am holy," becomes the vocation of each individual and of the entire Israelite people. And as a result, the laws of this section pertain to all Israel, not just to Moses or the priesthood. And so, like the other two great biblical collections of laws, the Book of the Covenant, which is Exodus, and the Book of Deuteronomy, this section begins with a prologue that outlines the proper mode of worship and concludes with an epilogue consisting of blessings and curses. Then the Holiness Code moves on to the commandments pertaining to forbidden sexual practices, which are designed as toeva, abominations, inconsistent with priestly purity. The overarching principle of this section and the following sections is God's injunction, "My rules alone shall you observe, and faithfully follow my laws. I am Adonai your God. You shall keep my rules and my laws, by the pursuit of which a person shall live. I am Adonai." Once we move into Parshat Kiddushim, which is also this week's Torah portion, the second of the two, beginning with Leviticus chapter 19 and into the middle of chapter 20, we get a distillation of the essence of Torah. We get the duties of the people of Israel, and we get representative teachings from a broad range of the mitzvot. These commandments are explicitly directed toward the entire community, beginning with the peroration, "You shall be holy, for I, the Lord your God, am holy." And it's important to note that these laws often echo those of the Ten Commandments in content and in form, and they lay out an agenda of ritual rigor, ethical sensitivity, and really a passion for social justice. And then finally, once we get into chapter 20, we get this reformulation of laws on the subject of incest and forbidden sexual activity. So that's an echo of the parsha that came before, Atonement. But whereas in chapter 18, we get a lot of "do not" or "you shall" or "you shall not" without listing any penalty, chapter 20 is more of a casual nature. If this, then this. When you do this, then this will happen. Both chapters assume a connection between pagan religion and sexual immorality, and both recognize that nexus as a cause of exile. The penalties in chapter 20 deal with capital offenses and with those that carry the penalty of karet, which is expulsion, banishment from the community. And the goal of these laws is that "you shall possess the land, for I will give it to you to possess, a land flowing with milk and honey. I, Adonai, your God, has set you apart from other people, so you shall set apart the clean from the unclean. You will be holy to me, because I, the Lord your God, am holy, and I've set you apart from other peoples to be mine. So this idea of lehavdil, which is where we get the word havdalah, is really embedded in this portion about to separate out, to make distinct or unique. Not better, not more superior, but unique in this relationship that we have with God. So what I'd like to do, because it's a double portion this week, is chant a little bit from the end of Achremot and continue into the beginning of Parshat Kedoshim. And we'll start with the blessing. Baruch hu et Adonai hamvorach, Baruch Adonai hamvorach le'olam va'ed, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Asher bachar banu mikol hamim, v'natan lanu et Torato, Baruch atah Adonai notein haTorah. I'm beginning with verse 26 of Achremot, chapter 18. Ushmartem atem et hukotai ve'et mishpatai ve'lo ta'asu mikol ha'to'evot ha'ele ha'ezrach ve'hager hagar b'tochachem ki et kol ha'to'evot ha'el asu anshe haaretz asher lifnechem vatima haaretz v'lo taki haaretz etchem batamachem ota kaasher kaa et hagoy asher lifnechem ki kol asher yaaseh mikol hatoevot ha'ele v'nichretu ha'nefashot ha'osot mikerev amam ushmartem et mishmarti lavilti asot mechukot hatoevot asher na'asu lifnechem V'lo titamu bahem, ani Adonai Elohechem. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai notein haTorah. But you must keep my laws and my rules, and you must not do any of those abhorrent things, neither the citizen nor the stranger who resides among you. For all those abhorrent things were done by the people who were in the land before you, and the land became defiled. So let not the land spew you out for defiling it, as it spewed out the nation that came before you. All who do any of those abhorrent things, such persons shall be cut off from their people. You shall keep my charge not to engage in any of the abhorrent practices that were carried on before you, and you shall not defile yourselves through them. I am Adonai, your God. And so now I'll continue blessing for and reading from the very beginning of Parshat Kedoshim, chapter 19, verse 1. This was my oldest child's bar mitzvah portion, so it just makes me happy, and I feel like I know it by heart. Baruch hu et Adonai hamvorach, Baruch Adonai hamvorach le'olam va'ed, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Asher bachar banu mikol hamim v'natan lanu et Torato, Baruch atah Adonai notein haTorah. Vayedaber Adonai el Moshe lemor, daber el kol adat b'nei Yisrael, ve'amarta alehem kedoshim tihiyu, ki kadosh ani Adonai Elohechem. Ishimo ve'aviv tira'u ve'et shabbatotai tishmoru ani Adonai Elohechem. Al tifnu hal ha'elilim ve'lohei masecha lo tasu lachem ani Adonai Elohechem. V'chi tizbechu zavach shlamim l'Adonai lirtzonchem tizbechu. B'yom zivchechem ye'achel u'mimaharat v'hanotar Ad yom hashlishi ba'esh yisaref. Ve'im ha'achol ye'achel ba'yom hashlishi. Pigulhu lo yiratzeh. Ve'ochlav avono yisa. Ki et kodesh Adonai hilel. V'nichrata hanefesh hahi me'ameha. Adonai spoke to Moses, saying, "Speak to the whole Israelite community and say to them, you shall be holy, for God Adonai, I am holy. You shall each revere your mother and your father." Good idea. "And keep my Sabbaths. I, Adonai, am your God. Do not turn to idols or make molten gods for yourselves. I, Adonai, am your God. When you sacrifice an offering of well-being to Adonai, sacrifice it so that it may be accepted on your behalf. It shall be eaten on the day you sacrifice it, or on the day following, but what is left by the third day must be consumed in fire. If it should be eaten on the third day, it is an offensive thing. It will not be acceptable. And one who eats of it shall bear the guilt for having profaned what is sacred to Adonai. That person shall be cut off from kin." Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai notein haTorah. So I wanted to share two perspectives on the double portion this week. The first is more specifically about Acharei Mot. And the question we really want to ask is, do the laws and rules contained both in Acharei Mot and Kiddushim represent a goal in and of themselves, or does their importance derive from some encompassing extra-legal values that inform their pedagogy and provide the mitzvot with direction and guidance? In other words, do we observe the rules of the Torah just because they're rules, or is the Torah authoritative because it directs us on how to attain a sacred and meaningful Jewish life? Well, one productive area to explore in response to that question is the case in which a mitzvah pertaining to ritual conflicts with a requirement of health. And that might be fitting for this time. If the rules are ultimately as important as goals in and of themselves, no health concern should override their prescriptions and requirements. But if the mitzvot are meant as commanding because they mold a community of sacred seekers and direct them in their journeys, then we would expect a ritual mitzvah to recede in the face of considerations of life and death, or even of health. So one verse from the very beginning of the Holiness Code relates that. "You shall keep my laws and my rules, by which man shall live. I am Adonai." And those two Hebrew words, v'chai behem, by which you shall live, they are not there on accident. They reverberate through the ages as a witness both to the central function of Torah and to the nature of its centrality as a path toward a sacred goal rather than as that goal itself. The rabbis of the Talmud consider, for example, whether a sick person should fast on Yom Kippur. Remarkable for its courage, their answer is that one who is sick and who must eat to maintain health is actually forbidden to fast. For such a person, it becomes a mitzvah to eat on Yom Kippur. Because in the words of Rabbi Leo Beck, the great commandment is in fact to live. We say pikuach nefesh, to save a life, even if it's your own. Living itself is a mitzvah. Without life, no other mitzvot, no other holiness is even possible. So the mitzvot really should be understood as practices along the path toward the sublime, not themselves the summit. They are, yes, irreplaceable, even obligatory and sacred, but the mitzvot are not the same as the goal. They are the means toward attaining the goal. I believe it was, I'm forgetting the philosopher's name right now, who said that the mitzvot, the commandments, were a bridge to connecting with God. So same idea. Choosing not to rely only on their own authority, though, the rabbis of the Talmud remark that the Torah itself tells us that the purpose of the mitzvot is to help us to live, but not to put life at risk. And so, as the Torah says, you shall live by them, meaning you shall not die by them. And in that distinction, our tradition mediates a complex and dynamic balance. The mitzvot are commanded because without them, we would be unable to find our way back to the source of holiness and oneness. And without them, we cannot hope to repair our characters, our people, or our world. But for all their tremendous value and their indispensability, the mitzvot themselves are just lights that guide us in our walk. That our destination is a richer inner life, a pulsating love for the Jewish people and all humanity, and a sense of responsibility for our planet and its people, so that out of that rich spirituality, loyalty, love, and connection will emerge that most precious of all Jewish figures, which is a true and sacred servant. And such a person, open to the divine, respectful of other seekers, yet true to the path of Judaism, able to learn from others and to share with all, witnesses through deed and word the oneness of the universe and the wisdom and the love of its source. V'chai b'hem, so that we should live. And I wanted to share one other perspective that I just really found quite beautiful about the portion, and that is Leviticus. If you look at the Torah, is in the center, right? We have Genesis and Exodus, and then Leviticus, and then Numbers and Deuteronomy. So Leviticus is our central book, and at the center of Leviticus, of Vayikra, is Kedoshim, this Holiness Code. So we are like smack in the middle right now. And not coincidentally, this portion, this time of year, this time in the Torah, is in fact a pinnacle of spirit and morality. And the Holiness Code really embodies the high watermark of all religious writing from that period. And what makes Kedoshim uniquely magnificent is its insistence on a maximal Judaism, one which demands much, teaches even more, and which creates a completely new orientation in the hearts of those who try to take it seriously. Kedoshim does not tailor Judaism to fit the personalities or ideologies of any particular group of Jews. Instead, it posits a very lofty set of standards and then challenges the Jews of every age to rise up to match its high ideals. And it asks all of us to grow beyond our own comfortable conventions, our own sleepy standards, to confront our evasion of excellence. Now, there are some of us Jews, or some of you, for whom Judaism is primarily a set of behaviors. What matters is whether a Jew performs the required ritual in the proper manner. And we often refer to those folks as religious Jews. They're kind of known by the number of homes they won't eat in, or by their very specific performance of ritual deeds. But another group of Jews sees Judaism exclusively as a form of social action. Ethics for them is the sum and total of any living Judaism. So marching against injustice, or petitioning Congress, or writing letters to the editor, this forms the entirety of what's important in being Jewish. But neither of those approaches fully captures the totality of Kedoshim. At the core, this week's reading and this week's parshiot demonstrate the indivisibility of ritual and ethics. For the Torah speaks about paying a laborer his wages promptly, observing Shabbat, honoring parents, not making idols, the proper mode of sacrifice, and leaving food for the poor, all at the same time, all mixed together. And in its purposeful jumble of ritual and ethical injunctions, the Torah offers just one justification for all of it. You guessed it. You shall be holy, for I, your God, am holy. And that is like a staggering claim. A maximal Jew practices rituals that are rooted in ethics and acts on an ethical system that finds expression and reinforcement through ritual. Ethical rigor and ritual profundity. That is the Jewish definition of holiness. And by blending those two, there's a tapestry that is created that is stronger and more enduring than either individual thread alone. Ritual requires ethics to root it in the human condition, force it to express human needs and to channel urges, to serve human growth and to foster insight. But ethics requires ritual to lend substance to its ideals, to remind one on a regular basis of ethical commitments already made, and to create a community of shared values and high standards. Ritual without ethics becomes cruel. Ethics without ritual becomes hollow. One of Judaism's central insights is to fuse ritual with ethics into a single blazing light, which is known as the mitzvah, and then to reorient that new composite creation, holiness, to reflect the very nature of God. Our standard is no longer tailored to concede our own imperfection or to cater to our mendacity. Ethics alone makes the man or the woman the measure of all things, and ritual alone surrenders the intellect to the power of unregulated passion. As many people have perished from emotion unleashed as from an unfeeling mind, the two need each other to teach restraint, balance, and compassion. By blending ritual and ethics, we shift the focus from our perspective to God's. You shall be holy, for I, Adonai your God, am holy. The blessing before the Haftorah. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar bin tovim, v'ratzav adibrehem hane'emarim be'emet. Baruch atah Adonai habocher b'Torah, uv Moshe avdo, uv Yisrael amo, uvinviei hamet v'tzedek. The Torah portion for Kiddushim, which is the one I'm going to focus on this morning, comes from the prophet Amos, who's not quite as well known as some of our other prophets. And our opinions are really divided over the reasons for the selection of this Haftorah portion. According to one view, the Torah portion deals prominently and memorably with the ethical prerequisites of the kingdom of priests that Israel was meant to be, while the Haftorah from Amos shows how widely Israel diverged from its destined path. So that might be the connection. But another opinion finds the reason for the selection of the prophet Amos at the very end of the Torah portion, which contains the warning that a sinful nation will be plucked from its land. And Amos, the prophet, speaks in similar tones, though in the end, he holds out a vision for a brighter future. So we can end on an optimistic note with Amos. Amos was said to be a native of a place called Tekoa, which was near Jerusalem, and he moved north to the kingdom of Israel and preached in Samaria, which was Israel's capital, as well as in Bethel, where a shrine existed that featured immoral practices under the guise of religion. And Amos was deeply shocked, apparently, at what he saw: moral laxity and legal and social corruption, and religious rites that had very little to do with the God of Israel. Conspicuous wealth and social justice lived side by side, and for Amos, that was just lo tov, not good. So, here we go. Halo kivnei kushim, atem li b'nei Yisrael ne'um Adonai. Halo et Yisrael, he'eleti me'eretz Mitzrayim, uflishtim mikaftor ba'aram mikir. Hine ene Adonai Adonai, b'mamlacha hachatata, Vahishmadati ota me'al pnei ha'adama efes ki lo hashmed ashmid et Beit Yaakov ne'um Adonai. Ki hinei anochi mitzaveh Vahanoti v'chol hagoyim et Beit Yisrael ka'asher yinu abakavara v'lo yipol tzoror aretz. Are you not to me, O people of Israel, like the Cushites, says the Eternal One? Did I not bring Israel up from the land of Egypt, and the Philistines from Crete, and the Arameans from Kir? Look now, the eyes of the Eternal God are on the sinful kingdom, and I will destroy it from the face of the earth, though I will not utterly destroy the house of Jacob, says the Eternal One. For at my command I will shake the house of Israel among all the nations, as one shakes in a sieve, yet not a pebble shall fall to the ground. The sinners of my people shall die by the sword, saying, no harm shall overtake us, nor meet us. A blessing afterwards. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, tzur kol haolamim, tzadik b'chol hadorot, ha'el haneman, ha'omer ve'osei, ha'mdaber u'mkayem, shekol devarav emet v'tzedek, al haTorah ve'al ha'avodah ve'al ha'nevi'im ve'al yom ha'shabbat hazeh, shenatata lanu Adonai Eloheinu, anachnu modim lach umvorchim otach, yitbarak shimcha b'fi kol chai tamid leolam va'ed, baruch atah Adonai mekadesh HaShabbat. Okay, friends, so we've studied a little bit of Torah this morning and a little bit from Prophet Amos, the Haftorah. And I don't know about you during this pandemic time, but I could use a little bit of pick-me-up each day. And I'm going to end our Torah study this morning with a little bit of Jewish humor, which I'm going to call Torah Part 3. And this particular story is about an older Jewish woman by the name of Mrs. Rosenblum, who signs up for a very difficult trek up the Himalayas with a mostly youthful and vigorous Sierra Club-like group, who are told that when they complete the journey to the top, they're going to meet a guru. And with an effort that astonishes and amazes all members of the group, and especially its youthful leader, Mrs. Rosenblum, who is not in her young years, manages to make it to the very top. Once they're all there, the leader tells the group that the guru lives in a cave, which he points to and he says, right there at the top of the Himalayas. The young leader informs them, the guru receives visitors, but please be advised that you can only say 3 words to him. Now, this is an extraordinary opportunity to be in the presence of the guru, and an extraordinary opportunity to speak 3 words of your choosing to this most revered and venerated guru. So each of the intrepid hikers files in to meet the guru and speak whatever 3 words they wish to utter in his presence. This includes Mrs. Rosenblum. When she emerges from the cave, the young leader asks her if she saw the guru. Oh yes, she replies, I saw him. The young leader then asks, and what 3 words did you say to him, Mrs. Rosenblum? And she said, yes, I did say 3 words. The curious young leader asked, well, okay, will you tell me what those 3 words are? And Mrs. Rosenblum said, Sheldon, come home.